What's up guys, Alberto Big Boost here and welcome back to my channel. Today I got a really cool video to show you. As you can see, we got Adam's engine back together, and then I'm gonna show you the step that it took me to get all the way to over here in a little bit. But first, Adam, let's hear it.
You ready?
Yes, let's go.
Are you actually ready?
It lives once again. Guys, this video is gonna consist of two parts. The first part is building the short block and the interior components of the engine, and then the second video is gonna be timing components and everything else on the engine block. The first one I have to cut it a little short because I ran out of battery the first day, but then I cover everything else in the second one. So stay tuned, it's gonna be a two-part video with tons of content. Today I have a really good video showing you how to rebuild the SR20 engine. This engine in particular is Adam LC's engine, and once again it's back on the chopping block and it needs rebuilding. This time around, the damage sustained to the engine is not as bad as previous times. This time around, the damage was held on the timing chain area, especially on this thread right here. As you can see, it has been filled and retapped. That way it can accept another bolt, because the previous bolt, as I showed in another video, stripped and also moved to the side, causing the timing chain guide to move and cause excessive timing chain slack. This time it's fixed, so now I'm gonna show you how to put this all back together. Before we do that, I want to address the exhaust manifold first, because exhaust manifold sustained a pretty big crack on the wastegate area. Here is a really good shot of what the damage on the wastegate is. So you can see it cracked almost all the way around the weld. I already cleaned and brushed the whole area, so it's ready for welding. I got my little TIG welding set up here already. I'm also going to be using a Ferric Cup FUPA 12 welding torch. So I have the nice gas lens and provides excellent gas coverage for this. I know you're supposed to be using a gas purge on this, but I don't have a gas purging kit, so I cannot back purge the manifold while I'm welding it. I'm sorry guys, I know that's the right way to do it, but we don't have that here. All right, let's get to welding. The manifold is fully welded. I had a few issues that the power kept cutting off, so I couldn't get a full bead going, but I think it's pretty decent enough. Then over here I had some more color that I tried to make sure I got some good filler in there. Guys, I know the welds are not perfect, but I have not welded in about 2 months. So I literally didn't even practice on it. I just went at it and got it welded. It works. it's gonna crack it in, hopefully, at least not in that same area. So now I can put this away and we can get started on the engine block. First off, let's talk about timing chain guides. This is the timing chain guides that were on Adam's cars. These are the ones that broke, but right now the new timing chain guides, you can see genuine from Nissan, has a little bit better construction, and the one that you're really gonna see a big difference in construction is the static timing chain guide, which is now metal instead of plastic. I mean, obviously it has a plastic liner, but it's a metal skeleton construction. Also very important, the bolts that hold this bracket are gonna be different than the ones that hold this one. Here is the new bolt. This is the old bolt. You can see there's a big difference on the design. To install the timing chain on the SR20, first you're gonna grab the timing chain. You'll notice that it has 3 silver keychain links. It's going to have 2 silver keychain links to the top and 1 towards the bottom. We're gonna grab the bottom one and we're going to match it with a timing chain sprocket on the crankshaft. Our timing chain is gonna look pretty much like this. Now you're gonna grab the static timing chain guide and we're gonna place it like this. And now you can lean the timing chain towards that side. Now just hand tighten the bolts, put them in place. And the bottom one. And that's pretty much how that one's gonna look like. Now we got the tensioner side timing chain guide, and then it's gonna go pretty much like this. Then sure to put the bolt through it, hand tighten it. And then leave it like this. Now I'm going to tighten these bolts. And we're done. It's now time to get the oil pump ready. First thing you want to do is apply some grease to the oil seal. So you want to get some grease, that way it's properly lubricated and it doesn't like mess it up with the crankshaft rotating on it. Just apply a little bit, take the excess off. We're good with that. Now we're going to need some silicone sealant. In this case, we're gonna use Permatex Ultra Grade Silicone Sealant. And then you flip this around, open the package. Very important thing, you're gonna need to cut this nozzle right here. So I like to cut it at like the second step. Fix it up. You have a nice fine point here, so you have precision silicone application. Open it up, use a spike, open the tube, and now we put our nozzle on. And we got flow going. Here's the technique that I want to show you guys how to use. I like to pretty much just make a bunch of dabs. So I'll make a little ball here and just keep dabbing on it. And you can see it makes a nice line that will give you almost like factory results. Make sure that before you install the oil pump, you replace the O-ring that seals the oil pump to the block. Very, very important piece. If you don't have this, you will lose oil pressure. Or you can have oil pressure leaking from the housing to the side of the block. Now to install the oil pump, make sure that you have the oil pump gear in the right configuration matching the crankshaft. We're gonna guide this like this. Pretty straightforward. And then press it in place. And make sure to install all the bolts. Always hand tighten them first or finger tight. Make sure they're going straight. And then you can use a little electric thing, or I like using just a regular ratchet with a deep 10mm socket. You can use a small electric impact very carefully just to tighten them all the way down, but do not tighten them with this. Now I hand tighten these. Make sure to tighten the front cover uniformly, that way it doesn't put stress on our corner and cause it to crack. Also like making sure I do at least 2 passes on all the bolts to make sure that all of them are tight as evenly as possible. Now you're normally supposed to torque these, but if we're gonna torque every single bolt of the engine, it's gonna take forever. You will notice that between the front cover and the block, you will have that little excess silicone. Make sure to remove that at this point. Just pretty much take your finger and wipe. And then same thing on the other side. Very important step. Now I'm going to apply a little bit of silicone on the front cover area where it's gonna meet with the head. Apply a little small amount and then you're gonna spread it. So pretty much gonna take this and just smudge it around like this. So you have like a little paint coat kind of thing. And this is gonna help you not have the issue that it had before where it will sip oil between the front cover and the head gasket. We're going to be using a Tomei 1.5mm 87mm bore head gasket on this build. So pretty much grab the chain, slide it over the head gasket, place it like this, and then you're going to align it with the block dowel pins. You can relax the chain. Now we're going to apply a little bit of silicone on the top side of the head gasket. We want to smudge it, so make sure it's a nice thin film, not too much. Add a little bit more here. And that should do it. Now I'm going to install the cylinder head onto the block. There's gonna be a little tricky because normally I have somebody holding the chain. But what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna let the chain slide all the way through. I'm just gonna like tuck like this. I'm gonna be using ARP head studs, but you don't want to put the head studs at this point because the head has to go in an angle to go over the timing chain guide. So that's why I have not put the studs at this point like you normally do on other engines. Handedly. First, I want to run the chain through the cylinder head Now I got that with one hand. I'm going to pass it through the other guide and then over this one. Now the head's in place. Oh wait, it needs to go over a little bit. And then you can move the shower to the side again. At this point now I can install the ARP studs and then start torquing the head down. I went ahead and put all the washers in and the studs. Now I'm putting in the nuts. These are gonna be 13 millimeter 12 point. It's kind of tricky to get them all the way down there, so what I do is just put my finger underneath the pocket here and kind of like help guide it. Put the nut socket, put your finger underneath, guide it, make sure you hand tight this and make sure it goes all the way in. Make sure you don't cross thread it, because if you cross thread it, you're gonna have a really bad day with this and wanna restart in that situation. We're going to be using the Massworks head stud kit, which they design them so you can get more threads into the block. That way it gets a much stronger clamping area onto the block. That way it doesn't strip down the threads. That way it doesn't pull the threads from the block if you tighten it and run too much boost like it happened before on this engine. And the last nut here. The Master head studs also have a different torque setting than the regular ARP studs. These ones will go to 65 foot-pounds instead of 90 foot-pounds. So it's very important to torque them to the right torque specs. If not, you might ruin the studs. We're gonna go ahead and start with 20 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're gonna go with 40 foot-pounds of torque. Then last but not least, 65 foot-pounds of torque. At this point, make sure that you tighten the front cover bolts as well. The next step now should be to install the hydraulic lifters and the lash adjusters for all the valves. Very simple. I already have them in order, so it's pretty much just put them back in the exact same way they came out. I already preloaded them, so they're already bled and ready to go. Pretty much just put them in the bucket. They go right in, just like this. Now is the hard part. You need to pay attention to this. The rockers. The SR20 rocker has a machined part and it has one part that's not machined. The machined part is the one that's gonna have the valve lash adjuster that has the little groove in it, and then the whole one is gonna be the one that's not machined. So if it goes like this, that means machine one is gonna go on this side, and then the one that's solid is gonna go on the right side. So left side, the one with the groove, the one that's flat goes on the right side. Then the latch adjusters, you can see this one's the one with a slit, and this is the one that's solid. This is gonna go just like this. Now it's time to install the camshafts. First I'm going to grab the exhaust camshaft. The exhaust camshaft is gonna be placed in the 12 o'clock position. So you want the pin to be facing straight up. Apply a little bit of oil. I don't have assembly lube here. I forgot to get mine. So I'm using high sink motor oil. This engine is going to be started in like 2 days anyways, or no, tomorrow. So there's no need to use like assembly lube on this one since it's gonna be fired right away. Now we're going to install the intake size camshaft. Don't really worry about the chain because I have the sprocket loose, that way I can put the sprocket on afterwards. But this one is pretty much gonna be facing about right here. So there's gonna be 20 little pins between each dot of the sprockets. I'll show you guys how to count that in a little bit to properly time your SR20 camshafts. Oh no guys, I'm running out of battery. I gotta cut the video now because I can't record anymore. I was gonna show you a whole engine build and I have to put this on tomorrow's video. I'm really sorry guys, but I'm gonna have to cut it short. Thank you guys for watching. Please smash that like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow with the rest of the build.